Hi everyone, it's Wendy here, and today I am going live in this group, and I'm also on the Zoom. So if anybody wants to join me on the Zoom call as well, you're more than welcome to. I attempted to do live from Facebook itself, but it didn't work. So what I knew how to do that 18 months ago, it no longer worked. So let me test and measure that behind the scenes before we actually jump on next week. So I just want to give you an overview of what we're going to be doing here on the lives. I've broken up some information around the Nurse Navigator work that I've been doing over weekly sessions for you. And I'm going to be giving you some tips here week by week on your application process, the whole thought process about recognising roles for you, going through the application process, interview preparation, interviewing itself, and of course transition after you've actually been successful or unsuccessful in a role application. But today I've got the topic of to share with you around how do you know you've actually outgrown your nursing role. It's quite common. We hear a lot about burnout, a lot about transitioning into other roles, but how do you actually know and recognize when you're sitting in it? Because when you're in it and working, you don't actually recognize that, oh, maybe there is something else out there for me and I need to seek another avenue. So I just got a voice message on my phone and I'll come back onto the live now. So there's three main areas. One is you're not enjoying the role anymore. I think I just disconnected and reconnected. The first area is, you're not enjoying the role anymore. And there's three elements to that I've seen over my career. One is that you're literally bored with the work. It's no longer inspiring you. It's no longer getting you excited about your day ahead. And you're wondering, it becomes a bit predictable as to what you can expect. And you're looking and you're a bit bored with the day-to-day mundane tasks. So the second thing is that you don't feel that you're extended in what you're doing. You're not being given the opportunities. You're not being given the extension or where you feel that you can actually grow, that the opportunities are not being extended to you, or you're not given the right direction. And that comes in under another element that I'm going to talk about in a minute. There's also an area of where you're not being acknowledged and valued for the work that you do in your workplace. You kind of go, I do come to work to look after people, but there's also a bit of self-satisfaction in what you do and pride in what you do on a day-to-day basis. And not getting that feedback can actually lead to you feeling a bit disgruntled, having negative thoughts about what you're doing, and that can transpose, unfortunately, onto behaviours. So when it transposes to behaviours, it becomes a bit of a performance issue, and you really want to nip these in the bud before it becomes too bad. The second thing is all around managing expectations. So sometimes when you take on a role, you're very excited about a new role, you've been given lots of promises and maybe not so many of those promises have come to fruition. And what you've learned over, the first 3 to 6 months is that maybe the rose-colored glasses have actually come off and you're getting to know the real value of where you work. So not what you expected. You feel that you have higher skill sets in that area, a bit like the first category that I mentioned, that maybe you feel that you do have more expertise, more ability, that you're wanting to do more and extend yourself, but your expectation is there for yourself, but not many other people can actually see it. The other thing is the opposite way. There's a lot of expectations on you, and you're feeling a bit extended to be able to do that. And this is where we get into workload, burnout, too many things to do, too many things to fix, and your expectations of what you wanted to do initially is not marrying up with where you are at the moment. So there's a bit of frustration there. Now, one of the things throughout my career, and I see, hi Helen, I see you're watching here, is that one of my key characteristics is I do have a high level of achievement and purpose that has been throughout my life, even from a young child. And I don't think I'm alone there. But the expectations of myself was that I was wanting to be a good contributor to my workplace, a good contributor to society, a good contributor to helping people. And when I felt that my abilities were being squashed to be able to deliver the care or deliver the systems or processes, then that's when my frustration actually came in. So my expectations and the expectations of what I was doing on a day-to-day basis were not actually matching up. The third area is around opportunities. I touched on this a little bit in the first segment of this, but opportunities that may actually not even be there where you are. You physically cannot see a career or pathway sitting where you are at the moment, and you can see it over the fence. So the grass is greener over the other side. It might be a new area or that sort of thing. A lot of in my time, a lot of managers, there's two thoughts. So when I worked as a manager, a lot of the staff that did show the skills and abilities that weren't being available in my unit, I would actually suggest that they go and try this, go and do a contract for a period of time and come back and bring those skills to our unit if you want to come back. But I didn't hang on to them. I didn't make things for them. I wanted to give them the opportunities to where their areas of strength were, to be able to go and develop those skills for them as a career and a professional to develop further any other areas. And this is one of the deficits that I'm hearing about with my coaching, is that their managers are not directing them in those other opportunities. So you may feel that you've outgrown your area in that you're not actually getting the opportunities. And the other one is too that you may not know where to look. There's heaps of opportunities out there for you if you're wanting to look and pursue. Nurses have so many skills that they can utilise within nursing and also outside of nursing. There's lots of areas there. So they're the three main areas where I see people, nurses, finding that they feel that they've outgrown their area. They're not enjoying the work. Their expectations and what's actually being delivered are not marrying, and not knowing about the new opportunities that are available there. So thank you for watching. If you had any questions at all, please comment them in the group, and I'll have a look after this live and go back and answer those comments or questions. I'm also going to gather up these lives and put them onto my podcast. My podcast is called Your Nurse Voice Matters. If you go there, there's 22 episodes that we recorded last year. Very inspiring nurses if you're wanting to listen to that. That's podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the main platform that I loaded onto is called Podbean. But the better known podcast platforms, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, are the ones that that people generally can watch that. And of course, being a member of this group, you're going to have access to these weekly lives. Some of the things that are coming up this year for me and what I'm doing, my Nurse Navigator program is being launched in a couple of weeks. Fingers and toes crossed that everything's going to, be ready to roll. And there will be some advertisements around that. And also I'm holding a summit in North Brisbane on the 3rd of October. And that's going to be around nurses' wellbeing. I've got 5 or 6 other nurses that are going to join me on that day. And we're going to be delivering that as a live summit for one day, with the view to actually expanding that out to a 2-day program for 2027. And that will be an annual event. It's independent. I no longer work clinically. I'm still registered with APRA as a non-clinical nurse, still registered. And all of the participants and the speakers for that, they're all nurses. So, except for one's actually a HR, but she does a lot of change management. But the summit anyone that comes onto my programs generally has a nursing and a strong nursing background. So thanks for watching, and next week we'll continue on with these snippets, and I'll put the topic up ahead of time, and we look forward to seeing you next week at 3:30 Queensland. Bye for now.
Everyone in YouTube land, welcome to the second part of this podcast. I'm actually going live in Facebook as a part of this as well, so just bear with me while I do, if I look away to do a few things to make this work. Yeah, welcome back, and look forward to hearing some feedback about these two podcasts together in the one information. So this is a continuation on the application tips for you. So just bear with me while I do these few little things. Good morning, everyone. It's Wendy here from Your Nurse Voice Matters, and also Nursing Career Transition, with our weekly live called Application Tips. So today I'm going to cover off a really important topic that can actually lead you to looking at other paths. You may feel that you are in burnout, or you may feel that your role is misaligned to what you're wanting to achieve. So now, nursing application tips, and where does all this fit? Well, in order for you to be starting to look around for applications, you're probably in a situation where you do feel a bit burnt out, or you do feel that your skills are not matching where you are at the moment, and you're looking for other opportunities. Hence why it's highly relatable to the background as to why you would be applying for a position. So first of all, I'm not actually going to go into the definitions of burnout and misalignment, because they're covered off really well in my third book. And most people know about burnout, and they also know about being misaligned or not matching your goals as to where you are at the moment. So you can Google those definitions if you like. And we know that burnout it's a physiological response accumulated over a period of time to you not being in a situation where you're actually getting enjoyment out of your work, that you're feeling fulfilled, all that sort of thing. You actually internalize, and it starts to become, a physical reaction to your situation. Misalignment, you're still getting some physiology going on, but you can see, and with others' help, you can actually be pointed out, that you may be in the wrong role. So let's get going. I'll just acknowledge Sonia, who's watching me at the moment. So nice to have you on board. So firstly, there's three main areas that I'm going to talk about today. The source of the actual problem, how you feel after rest, because a lot of people think that taking time out is actually going to solve the problem, make it feel better, and all that sort of thing. So acknowledging and really doing a self-reflection after a period of rest, and what you fantasize about changing. So what are some of the things that you're wanting to think about changing in your current situation? So the source of the problem. Burnout is really due, and contributing factors, they include high workloads, ineffective rostering, inefficient staffing levels. So workloads and staffing levels are two separate criteria. And also the emotional exhaustion of dealing with all of that. So nurses, we know, predominantly a lot of our nurses are working shift work. They work long hours. They may be doing back-to-back shifts. They may be doing long runs of shifts. And this, over a long period of time, can actually become physiologically hard to deal with. Trust me. And I'm sure I'm not alone out there. It's an accumulation effect. And the longer it continues, and the longer you take to recognize that it is affecting you physiologically and not doing anything about it, then that's when you progress through the stages of burnout. Now, burnout for me, I hear it quite often. And I acknowledge those that are really affected by burnout. I think it's a really terrible situation. But burnout is a term that I feel is bandied around a bit too much. when they're not recognizing that it is due to some of these factors, workload, staffing levels, not being able to cope with shift work, all that sort of thing. And usually when you change up a few of those things, or the managers are supporting the rostering effectively for fairness for everybody, then issues of burnout will decrease. Now, whereas misalignment, you're in the right, you're dealing with all of those issues, but you're still finding that you're in the wrong place. So the source of the problem there can be an ill-fitting role. So you're actually in the wrong role for your attributes, skills, and personal investment in what you're doing. So the role fit is really important, and that's why I'm talking about this at this point before I continue on with the series, because role misalignment, and this is what happened to me, role misalignment is where you're doing great work. Like, you're working in with the hours, you're doing great work, but you're feeling that your skills and expertise are actually not being utilised to their best ability, not being expanded on, not being, you're not actually being driven to support you in going that extra step. The values mismatch. So are you being valued in your workplace? Are you being acknowledged? Are your colleagues saying, gee, today was a great day, thanks for your contribution? Are your managers actually saying, hey, Sonia, I've got Sonia watching, hey, Sonia, you actually did a really good thing today. I really like the way you did X, Y, and Z. With some improvements, so constructive feedback is always good. But when you got to part D of what you did, this is what I would recommend that you try the next time to actually improve what you did. And that makes you feel like, oh, I've been acknowledged on what I did, A, B, C. D could be a bit of improvement. E and F was good. So that is being valued, getting that feedback. Lack of interest or growth. Sorry, I've got my notes over here. Lack of interest or growth in what you're doing. So alluding to the first part of this that I said, is that you feel that you do have the qualifications and the experience to be able to be extended beyond what your role you're actually currently doing, and finding frustration in that. So they're all misalignment issues. They're not burnout issues. So when you correct the burnout issues, when you correct your misalignment issues, then this is where you find yourself in a really good workplace environment to be able to be your best person. So I'll just check the waiting room on the Zoom. Yep, no one's in there. So the second point I want to cover off is how you actually feel after rest. So taking a rest from either of those two situations can help you reflect and look at very objectively and pinpointing where those challenges are for you. So I just need to do this for my notes. So with burn off, you'll find that time off actually temporarily relieves the burnout situation. You can take a breath. You can actually recognize that it is those things such as workload, the rostering issues. You can recognize that they are the cause of you actually physiologically not being able to give your best every day and feeling exhausted at the varying levels of burnout. You're not motivated. So again, the acknowledgement or that sort of thing can lead to your self-worth and devaluing yourself in the workplace. Conversely, if you are being valued, but the workloads and everything are not being addressed, then this is a contrast and it can still lead to burnout. In misalignment, rest doesn't actually change the underlying dissatisfaction and lack of motivation. So with rest, the underlying angst as to frustration in that role is still there. So you're still feeling that you're not in the right place. Often management will navigate if it's a you problem rather than providing opportunities for alignment. So quite often I've seen managers manage the person rather than recognising the other factors. as an overall problem. You know, are you the only person in the unit that's feeling like that? Are there others of you that do have the same concerns as you to be able to do things about? Is there anybody else that's feeling that they do not feel that they're actually in the right role? And if that's the case, then fostering that within the unit is a responsibility of your managers and educators. So going through the performance management, the performance appraisal process in your workplace, those matters should be identified and worked through to be given you opportunities or making suggestions to be able to be in the right place. The third thing is when you've got your downtime and you're thinking about everything, what do you fantasize about having to change? In burnout, changing shifts, reducing hours, different team or a ward area that actually accommodates those changes for you may bring about a change to decrease the burnout, but then you may still have a role misalignment. So you kind of change one set of parameters, but you may still not be in the right role. In misalignment, changing roles, settings, responsibilities, or your career direction. And this is why I've written these 5 modules to support people. So if you're feeling burnt out, but it is actually misalignment, then spending the time with somebody, me, a coach, a manager that you trust, to be able to work out a longer term plan for you career-wise is really important to get you in the area where you're not, where you are aligned, and also where those elements of burnout are decreased. So my 5 top tips to tell the difference. You notice whether dissatisfaction is situational or persistent. So by changing the situation, does the feelings of dissatisfaction improve? Or if it's persisting once you've actually moved, then that's where it's a misalignment. It's either you in your work unit, or the work unit itself is not aligned with where you're going. Your vision statements that you do all the time, they're nice words, but are they actually being felt individually and collectively by the workplace unit? So towards the end of my nursing career, I worked in a number of units all around the place, and internally I discovered that my values were mismatched with what I was experiencing, and that was me. So I made the decision to actually move out of nursing. It was my own decision. The second thing is reflect on whether your energy returns when your stresses are reduced. So does your energy actually increase when you fix some of the environmental factors, or the environmental factors are fixed for you? So if your energy levels increase, and not just 1 or 2 days, I'm talking over, a few weeks, have you noticed that you do have more energy? Are you more engaged in your home life? Are you taking part? Are you being present with your family and your loved ones more so once things have actually changed? So that's the second thing, reflect on your energy. The third thing is identify frustrations is about how you work or what you are doing. So how you work is an internal thing, your attitude, your approach to work. The second thing is what you're actually doing. So the tasks that you've been given, the role, the duties and the responsibilities, if they change, what happens? So really reflect on those things. The fourth thing is track which tasks drain or energize you. So a lot of wellbeing coaches do actually do this on, things that you do day to day. You can list them and then you can put them in, well, that's an energy drainer and that's an energy enhancer. So if you do that in your work life, that actually really gives you, on face value on paper, the things that are draining you, the things that are energizing you. So do that activity with work. So that's a really good activity to do. My fifth tip is consider whether growth, learning and meaning feels missing, not just rest. So is your sense of purpose really being honoured in your workplace. So really ask yourself that question. So they're my 5 tips. I hope that was useful. Please let me know if you found that useful to you or not. The recording of this will be up on my podcast, and of course it will be available in the Facebook group that you're watching at the moment. So they're my tips around burnout and misalignment. I will continue on with these series. We'll be back again at 3:30 next Wednesday. If you're able to come onto the Zoom, then that would be great. The Zoom link will be put in the group beforehand. If you're able to come on the live, feel free to make any comments or suggestions or ask questions. This is meant to be also not just a teaching segment, but also an opportunity for you guys to ask me, pick my brains about the topic that I'll put up ahead of time. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.